It's not the art of the deal. It is the art of the cover-up. And we're seeing now the Trump administration orchestrate a cover-up of the Epstein files, which they claim they were going to release. You'll note our reporting yesterday where the Maga influencers were basically saying the Epstein files are being destroyed by the deep state, even though Donald Trump wanted to release them all. They're being destroyed. Then earlier today, the Department of Justice sent a letter to Anna Paulina Luna, the MAGA Republican congresswoman who's running a subcommittee whose mission is to, I guess, release the Epstein files, the MLK files, the JFK files, the RFK files, and also UFO files. All of that's under her purview. The DOJ basically said, we're not going to release it. We are doing our due diligence to look through all of these documents, and then we're not turning it over. And then that caused chaos in MAGA world because they all said, I thought you were going to release it. Are you trying to cover it up? And then Donald Trump paraded out his attorney general, Pam Bondi, and she tried to basically, put out some like red meat for her base. And she was like, we're going to release the flight logs. We're going to release some of the flight logs. We can't release a lot of the other stuff, but the flight logs. And so I was like, you mean the flight logs that were released back in 2021? Do you think people are so stupid that they forgot that the flight logs were already released? They were released during the Ghislaine Maxwell trafficking trial, where Donald Trump wished Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Epstein's trafficker, Trump wished her well before that trial and said, basically, hope that she did well. He goes, I wish her well during the trial. But those flight logs have Donald Trump's name at least 7 times repeatedly. Donald Trump is mentioned. So if you release those flight logs, we're going to see Trump almost more than anybody on that jet. And get this too. After Epstein died under circumstances that, let's just say, are more than curious, Donald Trump got Epstein's jet to use for his campaign from an intermediary who purchased the jet from Epstein's estate. And then Trump put the Trump 2024 logo over Epstein's jet and was flying that around to different campaign stops. So let's just talk about what went down. Let's go through the different permutations. Let's bring out our receipts right here. So the right-wing influencer named DC Drano responds to MAGA Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She goes, my office just received a formal response from the DOJ on the Jeffrey Epstein, JFK, MLK, and RFK files, to which Drano, who's a right-wing MAGA influencer, goes, the DOJ has officially halted release of the Epstein client list. They did not give a date when they would release it. Not sure why they don't just release it in accordance with Donald Trump's executive order. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, what a surprise. MAGA has been screaming for the Epstein client list for years, and for some reason, Donald Trump's DOJ doesn't want to release it. They might need to do some redactions first. Now, it should be noted that Donald Trump and Epstein were very close friends. They hung out in Florida all of the time. Donald Trump is quoted as saying that Epstein is a, quote, great guy who likes women on the younger side. Some of the women who were trafficked by Epstein were found at Mar-a-Lago. For example, one of Epstein's more well-known victims, someone by the name of Virginia Giuffre, she was homeless. She got a job at Mar-a-Lago after that was the first job that she got after being homeless. Then Ghislaine Maxwell found her working at Mar-a-Lago, brought her over to Epstein, had her massage Epstein, and then Epstein began to traffic Virginia Giuffre. That was one of the kind of modus operandis that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell would do together. And again, Trump's name is repeatedly on the plane list. Deposition testimony from the various Epstein cases that have already been released publicly has Donald Trump's name on it. victim of Epstein's trafficking, says that when she was on the plane with Epstein, he called up Trump. And then they landed in Atlantic City to go to Trump's casino in the Ghislaine Maxwell trafficking trial, where she was found guilty and put in jail for the rest of her life, prison, where she belongs. A woman who was 14 years old at the time. She was a girl at the time, but she's testifying when she was older. Talked about how when she was 14 years old, she was brought to Donald Trump by Epstein. She's a pseudonym Jane Doe, but that's what she testified at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. And Donald Trump, I mean, in the early 90s through the 2000s, I mean, he would hold beauty pageants for like teenage girls. He would do girl beauty pageants, and then he would invite the girls on yachts. He's photographed with very young girls on the yachts, like looking at them in very creepy ways. The Guardian wrote a whole piece about one of these yacht trips where it was described that these little girls were dancing on men old enough to be their grandparents or their granddads, and it was disgusting. And then the old men would be like, get me one of these girls, get me one of these girls. A disgusting article. I mean, you see the photos of these girls right here, and look at Donald Trump with the girls right there. I mean, Trump and Epstein were very, very close. So here, let's take a look at the DOJ letter, which rejected the request for immediately releasing the Epstein files. Here it is right here, just so you can see for yourself. It's a response to Anna Paulina Luna. It says, thank you for your letters to the Department of Justice, dated February 11th and February 19th, 2025. We are sending an identical response to other members who joined your letters. In your letter, you requested briefings about any documents in the department's possession relating to the investigation and prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein, and about the declassification of records regarding the assassination of JFK, MLK, RFK. The integrity of criminal investigations and prosecutions is essential to every component of the department's mission to uphold the rule of law, keeping our nation safe and protecting civil rights. The department remains committed to meeting its legal record-keeping obligations as it pursues that mission. We are reviewing your request and look forward to engaging further to accommodate your oversight and legislative needs. We hope this information is helpful. Please do not hesitate to contact this office if we may provide additional assistance regarding any other things related to this matter. And notice that it's also signed not by Pam Bondi, but by a guy named Patrick Davis right there. So let me share this with you first. So this was this was Pam Bondi, I think a week or two back, where she talked about how the files are on her desk and she's reviewing them and she was gearing up to release them. Here it is right here.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
So then Pam Bondi went on Jesse Waters last night, and after all of this outrage within the Maga community, hey, we thought you were going to release these files. Here's the video where she says, I've got breaking news. We're going to drop some of the files, some of the flight logs. Here, watch this.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims, 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, well,
along with his co-defendant.
Absolutely, and he had help. That's for sure.
He sure did.
Okay, let's be real. Privacy is basically dead if you're not actively protecting it. Ever Googled yourself? It's terrifying how much of your personal information is just, well, out there. Your name, phone number, and even your home address, all up for grabs thanks to data brokers who collect and sell it to whoever is willing to pay. And if you think that's no big deal, trust me, it is. I've seen firsthand how this info gets used for identity theft, phishing scams, and even harassment. It's not just creepy, it's plain dangerous. That's why I personally use and recommend Delete Me. Delete Me is a subscription service that removes your personal info from hundreds of data broker sites. Let me break down why I love it. It's super easy. You tell Delete Me what info you want removed, and their experts handle the rest. They send you regular privacy reports so you know exactly what they found, where they removed it, and what's still out there. Plus, it's not just a one-time fix. They're constantly monitoring and removing your data so you stay protected long-term. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan today when you go to joindeleteme.com/Meidas and use promo code Meidas, MEIDAS at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/Meidas and enter code Meidas, MEIDAS at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/Meidas, code Meidas. Protect your privacy before it's too late. Thanks to Delete Me for sponsoring this episode.
MAGA Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, whether she's just gaslighting everybody or whether she just doesn't know or she's ignorant of these facts, she goes, well done. This is the transparency the American people asked for. We already have the flight logs. I mean, here it is right here. Government Exhibit 662-RR, 118 pages right here. We have them. The flight logs were already released in the 2021 Ghislaine Maxwell trial. We see Donald Trump's name. We've circled it there. It's at least 7 times right there. We have depositions. Jeffrey Epstein said, great, we'll call up Trump. We'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll go to the casino. We've got depositions. We have Trump's own word. Here he is, where he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well before her trial. Play this clip.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is. I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Mr. President.
We know that Epstein traveled on Trump's plane frequently. We have that data. Here are some of the major revelations from the bombshell Daily Beast article from Michael Wolff's book. Epstein showed me photos of Trump with topless young women sitting on his lap. That's what Wolff claimed. Jeffrey Epstein described himself as Donald Trump's closest friend for about a decade. Epstein claimed that Trump liked to F the wives of his best friends. Epstein alleged Trump and Melania first slept together on the Lolita Express. Epstein suggested Trump was a serial cheat and loved using his power to pursue women. Trump reportedly had scalp reduction surgery and referred to himself as the Trumpster. You know, we have other audio of Donald Trump. I mean, you know, here he is saying that he would inspect the girls naked or the women naked, depending on which beauty pageants it was, because he did beauty pageants for, I guess, adults. He also did the teenage beauty pageant. So I'm not sure which one he's talking about here, but he said that he would inspect them naked without their consent, because he was the head and they had to let him do it. Here, play this clip.
Well, you could also say as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, you know, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting.
Right,
I want to make sure that
like
everything is
doctor,
good.
you're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like
I think this is when Lindsay Lohan had either just turned 18 years old. She may have been 17 years old here. He said that he liked that she was psychologically damaged and that he liked having sex with psychologically damaged women because they're better in bed, he said. Here, play this clip.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan, Howard?
I think she's hot.
There's something there, right?
Yes.
But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close-up of her chest.
Yes.
And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles?
If the father's a wreck, like the way he is,
right.
You imagine the sex with this troubled...
Yeah, you're probably right. She's probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed.
Back in the day...
How come the deeply troubled women,
yes,
deeply, deeply troubled,
right,
they're always the best in bed? If for some reason what I said is true, I mean, they're just unbelievable.
I can tell from the...
You don't want to be with them for the long term, but for the short term, there's nothing.
And here he is recently. This was Donald Trump giving a speech about a year ago before the young Republicans, high school and college age Republicans. And Trump said the most courageous thing he's done, according to a general, was calling, when he would grab women by their genitals, locker room talk. He said that was the most courageous thing, far more courageous than like what people in the military do, defending our country. He said labeling, molesting women, locker room talk, he says, was a very courageous thing, he says. Play this clip.
But I went onto that stage just a few days later, and a general who's a fantastic general actually said to me, "Sir, I've been on the battlefield. Men have gone down on my left and on my right. I stood on hills where soldiers were killed. But I believe the bravest thing I've ever seen was the night you went onto that stage with Hillary Clinton after what happened. And then that woman asked you the first question about it. And I said, locker room talk. It's locker room talk. What the hell? What are you talking? Locker room talk."
Yeah, and also we have audio of Epstein. Share it with you here. I mean, here's audio of Epstein talking about Trump. Let's play it.
I think we have a snippet from one of the conversations that I recorded with Epstein, and I think this was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag and Priest is not doing a good job and Kelly has a big mouth. And what do you think? Jamie Dimon says that you're a problem and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne is just too much of a wild card. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
And here's a compilation MSNBC did I thought was great about Trump and Epstein's connections and how they would party together. Play this clip.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests. Among them, the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president says now, he never liked Epstein.
So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here, Pam Bondi? what I want to see happen is I'd like for you to release the files. You can easily redact the names. Isn't this all about government efficiency? What about DOJ? You're telling me how efficient you are, and AI and algorithms and all of these things. You're telling me that by now, within over a month, we're going to be 2 months soon, you couldn't redact the names of the victims and release all of the files? It's that hard for you to do? I thought y'all were efficient. I just wonder with these Republicans, though, who like go, oh my God, they released the flight logs. Like, are y'all being serious? Or you know that you're covering up for Trump? I'm just trying to make sense of it. I'm trying to make sense of it. There's almost no one closer to Epstein out there who's living now than Trump. And we know about it. And y'all are out there saying that there's this, you're looking for your guy. Okay. We'll keep covering this though, and we'll keep letting the public know what's happening, and they could judge for themselves. I showed you the depositions. I showed you the flight logs. I showed you Trump's words. I showed you Epstein's words. So judge for yourself. Okay. That's all you can do. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.